Hi, I'm Mr. Kangas, and today we're going to take a look at Chapter 7, Section 5, or actually Chapter 7, Section 6, my bad, slope-intercept form. And in this video, we're just going to be talking about how do you find the slope and how do you find the y-intercept. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what do you do when your linear equation is not in slope-intercept form. How do you find the slope and y-intercept in that situation? That's one of the things we'll be discussing. But if you do have your linear equation in slope-intercept form or standard form, then it's really simple. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now if we have y equals 3/5 x plus negative 7, 3/5 is our slope, negative 7 is our y-intercept. M, or in other words the number next to x, is always your slope. The number by itself, the constant, is always your y-intercept. Now, if this was not in fraction form already, maybe this was 2x. You could say the slope is 2, but to be more accurate, remember slope is always the rise over the run. Take that 2, turn it into a fraction. 2 over 1. Rise over run. Anytime you have a number by itself as your slope, to turn it into a fraction, put it over 1. Okay. So that's a simple way to find slope and y-intercept. Now it's not always going to be that easy because you're not always going to get your linear equations in slope-intercept form. You may end up with something like this. Okay. So now what do you need to do? You need to put it into slope-intercept form. That's how you're going to find the slope and the y-intercept. So if you take a look at slope-intercept form, it's y equals. So y is by itself. So we're going to solve this problem for y. So this is just a simple 1 or 2 step equation depending on the problem. I want y to be alone, which means I need to get rid of the 5x. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Okay. Now remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So just to make sure you get everything accurate, negatives and positives do make a difference here. I always keep flip change or add the opposite when I see subtraction signs. So I'm going to keep flip change or KFC that. And we get y equals 3 plus negative 5x. Okay. And so in this case, you could technically call yourself done because at this point you can take the slope and the y-intercept. Remember, the slope is always the number connected to x. So the negative 5 is my slope. And remember, when it's by itself, what do? Put it over 1. So my slope is negative 5 over positive 1. Anytime you're putting it over 1, that 1 is always going to be positive. My y-intercept is 3. Now, if you're one of those people who just, you need everything to be the same, so if this is y equals mx plus b, you want this to be y equals mx plus b, we KFC'd this. There's a plus sign here. You can flip-flop those and make life easy for yourself. Now you have y equals negative 5x plus 3. This looks just like the formula, and so you should be okay at that point. Now, there are certain situations where it becomes a little bit harder to solve for y, but I mean, it shouldn't be too much more difficult. Basically, rather than saying difficult, I would say it just requires more work. It's not necessarily difficult. So, let's change the numbers around a little bit. We're going to make that 10. And make that 25. Alright, and then we're going to make this plus 5y. So in this situation, again, it meets all the criteria. There are no variables. There are no variables with exponents. We have 2 different variables, and they're in separate terms. So we know we have a linear equation here. Okay, but I need to solve for y because I need this to be in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides. And so we get 5y equals 25, and I'm going to keep flip change, plus negative 10x. Now at this point we're not done yet. We haven't solved for y yet. We still have that 5 we've got to get rid of, so we have to divide both sides by 5. And remember, you have to divide everything by 5. And this is actually kind of nice, because it's going to take your slope, which is not in fraction form, and it's going to put it in fraction form for you. So we get y on the left side. 25 divided by 5 is 5. And we have negative 10 over 5x, which could be reduced, some of you may have caught on, to negative 2 over 1. That's fine. So your slope is negative 2 over 1 or negative 10 over 5, and your y-intercept is 5. Pause the video if you have any questions. Pause the video if you need to take notes. Please make sure you're taking notes. That's really all I got for you on this. In the next section, we're just going to talk real quick about how to graph an equation using slope-intercept form. You don't need to do anything with ordered pairs. We're using just slope-intercept form. I'm going to teach you how to graph.